We're talking about knowledge of the future in movies. YouTube channel, Easter Egg Psychic. Alright, history is unfolding in June 2025. On June 13th, the state of Israel attacked targets at more than a dozen locations in cities across Iran. Later on the 13th, Iran retaliated, firing over 150 ballistic missiles back at Israel. And as of this recording on the 15th, there have been numerous exchanges. Looks for all intents and purposes like a war. This current event, I believe, can be seen as a subtext in many popular movies. Actually, the scope of this, it's beyond my own capability and understanding. The Back to the Future, science fiction time travel, comedy trilogy. The first movie was out in 1985, directed by Robert Zemeckis, written by Bob Gale, with a cast that included Michael J. Fox, Christopher Lloyd, Leah Thompson, Crispin Glover, Thomas F. Wilson, and James Tolkien. The sequels followed in 89 and 90. I thought it interesting that the fighter jet predominantly shown in Top Gun is the Grumman F-14 Tomcat. This is significant because the state of Iran in 2025, one of the last countries in the world presumably still operating this American fighter jet. Now the presence of Tom Cruise, I think, is another major time indicator to the present day. And this is due to the fact that Mission Impossible, The Final Reckoning, was just released May 23rd, 2025. Director Brian De Palma worked with Cruise on the original film adaptation in 1996. This is based on the American spy television series. John Voight, Jean Reno, Kristen Scott Thomas, Vanessa Redgrave were in the original. To Barbara Stanwyck, whose name appears on the marquee for Cattle Queen of Montana and Back to the Future. She worked with director Howard Hawks in the 1941 comedy Ball of Fire. Gary Cooper was also in this. I mentioned actor Dennis Quaid. He was in a movie with a similar title, and that was Great Balls of Fire in 1989. This was a biographical drama on musician Jerry Lee Lewis. Winona Ryder and Alec Baldwin were also in this. Now, Hawks was the director of the original 1932 gangster film Scarface, and this starred Paul Muni, Ann Dvorak, Karen Morley, and Boris Karloff. Brian De Palma of Mission Impossible, of course, remade Scarface in '83 using a script by Oliver Stone, and this starred Al Pacino, Stephen Bauer, and Michelle Pfeiffer. Alright, so with that established, take a look at Back to the Future. At 37 minutes, 35 seconds, Marty McFly goes into the diner. And in this scene, I believe there's some proof to the actual date of this recent flare-up in the conflict between Iran and Israel. So in this scene, we're first introduced to the younger version of Marty's father, George McFly. He's played by actor Crispin Glover, who is among the cast of the 1984 slasher horror film Friday the 13th, The Final Chapter, along with Kimberly Beck, Peter Barton, Corey Feldman, and Lawrence Moneson. A couple other quick references. If you're familiar with anagrams or word puzzles, the name or word Biff, you rearrange and reverse the letters of this, and you may be able to get F-16, the name of another fighter jet. At the end of this scene in the diner, Marty looks up the name of Doc Brown in a phone book next to the payphone. He tears out the page before leaving. It could also be a reference to the city of Tehran. I believe that movies are a holographic representation of certain information and events. I'm not exactly sure how it's laid out or presented or why. If you rewind Back to the Future to around the 34-minute mark, you'll see Marty in the radiation suit. Earlier in the film, they talk about nuclear issues and plutonium. My YouTube channel is Easter Egg Psychic. There I go back, I look at movies and television from the past to analyze these for possible references to future media. These may appear in the form of anecdotes, idioms, anagrams, hidden in the subtext of the work in question. I also use an unconventional method where I look at the likenesses of the actors. And what I found is you can take the likenesses, match these up to some of the anecdotal items, and show past, present, and future information about actors and other personalities who may resemble the personalities in the movie or television episode that you're watching. My email contact is eastereggguy, that's GUY, @yahoo.com. Thanks for watching.